G'day, I'm Jimmy Barnes. Stick around, I'm going to be playing you some of my favourite songs. It's a pleasure and honour to be hanging here with you on Rage. It's going to be a big night. Hang around. Yeah, Tom Waits is one of my favourite acts. I mean, he's an incredible songwriter, incredible piano player. He does really unusual music. I've been a fan of his for 30 years. I remember seeing him at the Sydney Town Hall many years ago, and he was playing piano from the boot of a car, which was really great. And I actually had a run-in with him, and we met him. We were on the same record company when I was with Cold Chisel, and we're sitting at the Hilton Hotel in Melbourne, and Tom had just come into town, and he was a bit seedy. It was 8 o'clock in the morning. We'd just flown in, and there was a bloke from the Australian record company there, and Tom was being pretty funny. He would sit down, he's having a few drinks. It's when he still wasn't on the wagon, and he's sitting there with a couple. I think he had a couple of Jack Daniels and Coke or something at 7 o'clock in the morning. And the guy from the record company, the Aussie bloke, said, "Is there anything we can get you, Tom? Anything you want?" And Tom sort of went, "Yeah, 14-year-old virgin." And and the record company guy, without even batting an eyelid, said, "This is Melbourne, mate. I can get you 2 7-year-olds." So it was Tom. I think even Tom was surprised. Tom was shocked and stunned. So this is Going Out West from Tom. Classic song, classic artist, and I hope you like it. You know, I wanted to play a Rolling Stones song just because they're such a bloody good band. They're coming out here very soon, and I'm playing with them. I'm actually doing a show with them in Adelaide. But I mean, too many bands. When you play a song from your band, you just play one of their classic hits. This is a song I heard on the radio. It was one of their latest stuff, I think called Doom and Gloom. And when I heard it, I just thought, this sounds great. Who is it? And I couldn't quite work it out. And then something kicked in with the chorus, and I knew the guitar playing, and I sounded the voice, and I thought, this is the Rolling Stones, and it sounds great. This is new Rolling Stones, Doom and Gloom. People would be surprised to know that I think for a long period there, the biggest touring band in the world was Depeche Mode, which is pretty surprising considering the singer was dying every second week. You know, they were a hard-living, hard-going band, but they were filling auditoriums constantly in America. I think they were outrating AC/DC as a touring band for a while there. This album from Depeche Mode is one of the great produced records, I think. You put it on, it's loud, it's aggressive, it's sort of industrial sounding, and it's nasty. This is Barrel of a Gun from Depeche Mode. Jerry Lee Lewis is one of the quintessential great rock and roll singers of all time. You know, there's great stories about Jerry Lee Lewis. You know, I think one of them was said that he was caught drunk one night climbing over the walls of Graceland with a gun in his hand, saying he was going to prove who was king once and for all. You got to love anybody that was a rebel for his whole life. He still plays great music now. One of the best left hands on piano that I've ever heard in music. There's a whole lot of shaking going on by Jerry Lee Lewis. Bob Dylan's got so many great songs. It was hard to really to pick one that would sum it up for me. But it's one of those things where I couldn't not play a Bob Dylan song just because he's made so many great records and written so many great tunes. This tune to me is a song that you could play. Pearl Jam could play this song, or Tim Buckley could play this song. It's a song that's just fantastically well written song. The actual production on the original song itself is just amazing. Great playing. This is Bob Dylan, Like a Rolling Stone. Still got a long way to go is a song that was written by Diesel, actually, and Diesel was my brother-in-law, and I met Diesel in 1987 when I made the Freight Train Hard album, and he was a young. I was in the studio in Sydney in Rhinoceros Studios, and I needed a guitar player to play on a couple of tracks I was finishing up for that album, and I was in the middle of doing vocals, and my wife said, "Oh, I'll go and see if there's any good guitar players playing around town." There was lots of bands in town. So she went out and she came back that night and she said, "I've just seen this guy who's incredibly good looking, who plays really great guitar, and he's a fantastic bloke." And I thought, I'm going to go out and see him and kill him, you know. So I went and looked for him, and I bumped into Diesel. I've seen him play. He was an unbelievable guitar player, and we hit it off. We're mates, and we've been mates ever since. So much so that when he came and played in my band for a while, and Jane, my wife, has a beautiful sister called Jeppy, and I just had sort of this vision of Jeppy and Mark getting together, and they could make some beautiful children. So I sort of hooked them up, and I kept calling band meetings, and they'd be the only two that were there, band dinners, and they'd be the only two that were there, and I'd set them up. I hired Jeppy as my wardrobe mistress, and if you look the way I'm dressed, I really don't need a wardrobe mistress. So it was a setup, and they ended up becoming good friends, and they got married, and they made made beautiful kids, which leads me to still got a long way to go. If you look at in the middle of this song, there's a young Elvis impersonator that comes into the film clip, and that's one of Jeppy and Diesel's kids, one of the products of my engineering. There's some bands, have a way of just capturing a period and a place. You hear a song and it takes you straight to a place where you were in your youth, or you hear a song and it takes you, whether it's Led Zeppelin with Kashmir or whatever. This next band is the Kinks, and when I hear Waterloo Sunset, it paints a picture of me of London. It just makes, it takes me there. I can almost smell the place. For me, it's a quintessential pop song. It's incredibly well written. For its day, it's amazingly well produced. And I hope it takes you to London as well. All the best. Here's a song from a band that I really like. Jarvis Cocker, I think is very, very funny, very, very witty guy. I think this song is really, really dark. The lyrics in this song are, I can relate to, coming from a pretty poor background. But the thing that really attracted me to this song was the production. It was done by Chris Thomas, and he's done everything from INXS. But what I remember him first from was from Free and from Roxy Music. And the production on this song reminds me very much of Virginia Plain, of Roxy Music, classic British rock. This is Pulp and Common People. I'd really prefer not to be playing my own clips, but if I'm going to be playing one, here's a song that was pretty instrumental in changing my career. This is a song that was written by a guy who played piano for a band that I love called The Babies. He was also the piano player in a band called Journey, who didn't really do a lot in this country, and I didn't know a lot about it at the time. But I went and met Jonathan Cain, and he sat with me, and he was asking me about what my audience was like, and I told him my audience was particularly wild. They worked hard and they played hard. They'd go and work in their jobs all week and go out on a Saturday night and tear the place apart. And he thought that was a really great thing. So he went away, and I got a phone call a couple of days later. He said, "Jimmy Barnes, I've written you a song about your audience." And I thought, oh, this will be good. And he told me it was Working Class Man, and I was waiting to hear it. When he sent me the song, I immediately knew this is a song that was going to resonate with my audience. It's a song that's become sort of an anthem for me live. Making this film clip was very, very funny. We were on a strict budget, and we had one cane field to burn. And I remember none of us had been near a burning cane field before, and so we didn't know how it was going to burn. They put me in front of it, said start singing, and lit one end of it. And before we knew it, I was engulfed in flames. At one point, you can see me. I'm looking backwards. That's because I'm being singed. We didn't know how close to be. The other thing they didn't tell me was when you burn a cane field, everything that's living in the cane field comes running at the other end. Snakes, spiders, lizards, and all that. So I'm standing there, and I was just terrified. I hope you enjoy the clip, Working Class Man. Well, it's been a big journey. I've played a lot of clips for you. I hope you had a sort of a bit of an insight into sort of music that drives me crazy and sets my soul on fire. I'd love to stay and play you more, but I've got to go home and go to bed. So thanks for having me. It's been great playing music for you, and we'll see you on the road.